Hey David, so today we're talking about Dennis van Meer, who founded the PTR University, where he was able to certify teaching professionals. He was also quite the visionary. He learned from many people. He started a lot of different teaching methods and always wanted to learn more. Have you ever heard about him?
The teacher of teachers, amazing. He is a legend to me. He's had such a huge impact on the recreational, world, and I feel, all I can think about when you say his name is what an inspirational individual. So, yeah.
He actually knew how to manage large groups of people on a court of 200 people, either on 2 or 3 courts. So for us as teaching professionals, a lot of times we have a lot of numbers on just 2 courts. Sometimes we're not expecting how many numbers we can get. What is a way like you can kind of think of how to impact of how Dennis did it?
So he really adapted what he knew and what came his way, the challenges, and he wanted to make it easier, not only for his students, but for the teachers. And I think that's amazing, just knowing we have someone, that I look up to that was able to handle pressures, was able to handle big groups, and I only work with big groups, so he is an inspiration to me.
Yeah, he definitely did a lot of teaching methods throughout his career. And one thing he tried to always highlight with people is that always having a sense of humor on the court. If you don't have a coach who's very high energy or encouraging, some players, may lose that and they may not want to play, but he always encouraged having a sense of humor. So can you relate to that?
I feel going out there, he had, really focused on a positive energy when you're out there. And I absolutely think that that's key before anything. And I know he wanted to have fun, and he wasn't out there for the money. He wanted to grow the game of tennis. And I think that's just amazing, and just, I really want to follow with everything he did. I want to be, just like him. Did you know that Dennis, he was trying out for the Davis Cup and he lost on a critical point and he stopped playing, and his coach actually told him he should try, teaching to build that confidence. So it was almost like he had to fail to find his true calling, and the teaching was his true calling. He defined failure, and the failure really helped him, find what he was amazing at. I don't know, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that could be a light in a lot of players who may stop playing for, any reason, like if they lose a big championship or they lose just a couple points in a really important match, and just trying to encourage the kid, especially being a big example as Dennis was, and just trying to turn a negative into a positive. I think us as coaches, we always try to encourage kids when they're playing practice matches or practice points in their clinics to try to just brush off that one point and go on to the next point, not getting wrapped up in that same point for a couple minutes. So I think Dennis really inspired even myself as a coach, and also still playing really
That's
inspired
awesome.
that.
Wow, that's awesome.
A lot of us as teaching professionals, we use certain analogies, with little kids. We say low to high swing. Sometimes with the little kids, I'll tell them knees to trees. Sometimes with the higher level players, I'll say try to reach out to a target. And Dennis actually had a lot of different analogies. Do you know of any that you used during your teachings?
Yes, there was one I particularly loved, from scoop to loop, and I thought that was kind of cute. I still use that. And he just wanted to make it easy, wanted to make it adaptable, not only for the students but for the teachers. And being a PTR certified coach since 2008, I think I don't know where I'd be without the progressions and everything he's taught us to make it easier for our students. And I think he wasn't about making money and about just having as much as he can, money and stuff. He wanted to grow the game, and that's such a great role model as a teaching professional. And I really just think he is wonderful. So
especially for me, I didn't start coaching till a couple years ago, and I'm only I'm 22. I'm still young. I'm still playing, and I think just learning more about Dennis and as the days go, or just looking up about how he was inducted to the International Hall of Fame, which is really amazing. You don't see a lot of people who get into that. So I think for me, just learning more about him in this day and age, which I didn't really know much about him in the past. I mean, of course I've heard of like the Meer Academy and the camps, but I've never really known like so much about him.
Gotcha.
What about like maybe in the past or something, or during like teachings, like have you ever really watched any of his teaching videos or anything like that you can remember?
So I remember like my first booklet for PTR, and he would go over with the serve, the progressions: toss, tap, finish.
Yes.
Sword goes down the side, like just little things that I still remember. The scoop and loop I love, because that's just, you know, something that really, that analogy really stuck with me. And knowing that he loved it so much, and you know, he had to fail to succeed, and the success from how wonderful as a coach he was, and how he was able to adapt, and you know, his history of who he's taught, it's really incredible. So
yeah, he really was a visionary, and he definitely has left a legacy behind for all of us. So I'm glad to hear what you had to say. Thank you
thank you
talking.
so much. I was honored to talk about Dennis.
Awesome.